Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today for a brand new pick a card reading. For anyone that's new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Melissa, and today's reading topic is going to be exploring the question, how do love interests perceive you? So this reading is really intended to kind of provide some clarity and insight into how you are perceived by any love interest in general. So whether you guys are interested in like a specific person, or you're just curious to know like the vibes that you're putting out there into the world, especially if you're single, this is going to be a great reading for you to really better understand the energy that people are picking up from you. So you really want to look at this as kind of a self-exploratory, self-discovery type of reading. And as always with these perception-based readings, just because it's the perception that a general group of people might have, doesn't necessarily mean that it's always the reality. But if you guys do see something in this reading that, that you don't like, that's maybe a potential vibe that you're throwing out there. The cool thing is that knowing how people are perceiving you allows you the opportunity to potentially change it, right? Switch things up a bit. So if this sounds like a topic that you're interested in, then let's go ahead and get started. We have 3 piles that we're going to be working with today. So on the left here, we have card number 1. This is the color dark apricot. For pile number 2, we have the honey. And for pile number 3, we have the Archangel. So I want you guys to take a deep breath. Think about the way you're coming across to potential love interests. Go ahead and select the card you're feeling the most intuitively connected to and really pick with your intuition and your gut versus just picking the color that you like the most, okay? And once you've made your choice, you can scroll down to the description box below where you'll find the timestamp that will link you to your reading. See you there. Hey there, pile number 1. If you guys picked out the first card, the dark apricot, this is going to be your reading. We're going to explore how potential love interests perceive you. What's kind of the energy that people pick up off of you? So starting off with your first message here, the dark apricot color that you guys picked. So this card is talking about finding the humor. So already right off the bat, I feel that love interests perceive you guys as being really funny and being like really fun. I think that they find you to be a lot of fun and very enjoyable to be around. Some of you guys might even have like a more dark sense of humor, like a more twisted sense of humor is something else that I'm picking up. But I'm definitely getting like a really lighthearted, just really fun energy from this. I feel like you guys are either like comedians, like you know how to make people laugh, like you're very witty. And if that doesn't necessarily resonate, then on kind of like a deeper sense, it's like, I think that people perceive you as being able to find the humor in life, finding the humor in anything. So it's like being able to kind of find the silver lining in situations that might even go badly for you. You know what I mean? So it's like being able to kind of look at the bright side and kind of find the silver lining. Let's continue. We're going to shuffle all of our decks on camera today. So next we're going in with your tarot. So let's see. Clarifying this dark apricot. How do pile 1's love interests perceive them? What's the vibe they pick up? Okay. So we have a Knight of Pentacles that flew out of the deck. Oh, and we had another one that flew out. I'm going to take that one too. The Strength card. Wow. Okay. So even though like you guys are a lot of fun to be around, and I think that people find you to be really enjoyable, you guys are definitely perceived as someone that likes to take things slow, okay? Both of these cards, the Strength card and the Knight of Pentacles, are really talking about a slower pace of movement, okay? Now, depending on whose energy I'm channeling, you guys, like, this could be like the general vibe you're throwing out to all love interests. This could also be a general vibe that you're throwing out to maybe a specific love interest. And I'm kind of getting this energy that like maybe for this group, for some of you guys, not all, but for some of you, there might be more of a snail's pace or kind of like slower approach to connections if you're not really finding yourself that interested in the person. So that's just like a message I'm getting for some of you out there. So maybe I'm channeling someone that you guys aren't that into, and that's why they're perceiving you as moving slow or holding yourselves back. But for others of you, you know, this is definitely an energy of like, they see you as being very practical. You're definitely the type of person that likes to do things the right way in love. You're the type of person that likes to, do things right. The way that you feel is right, the way that you feel is practical. And I think that sometimes because of this, depending on the person you're connecting with, that it's like you're perceived as moving at a snail's pace. Okay, so that can be good, bad, and different. That's just the message I'm receiving here. I'm also kind of seeing like, even though we have like a little snail here, it's like it's not really exposed. It's like hiding in its shell, because you can't really see its head. So I'm also kind of getting an energy here of like you guys holding back your true selves in a sense, or hiding your most vulnerable side of yourselves. So even though you guys might be a lot of fun to be around, I think that people know that or they pick up that it takes a little bit of time for you to feel like comfortable to really let your walls down, let your guard down, and open up and be vulnerable to them. Strength card is kind of, for lack of a better word, strengthening this message of the Knight of Pentacles, because people see you as being very controlled. Very controlled in your emotions, very controlled again in your approach. I don't feel like it's interesting because even though you guys have this really fun, bright energy here, it's like you guys really don't like to be impulsive. You don't like to rush into situations. And so even though I think that people perceive you as being very passionate, very charismatic, I think that you're perceived as like being a strong, confident person. And you might have chemistry with people. But even if you have chemistry, it's like you're not letting the lion all the way out of its cage. You know what I mean? There's definitely a more controlled, more measured way that you guys like to go about relationships, is what I feel. Woo. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to go to our next deck here. This is the this is the Love Story Oracle cards. So let's continue. So how do pile one's love interests perceive them? Let's get some more information here. Codependency. Okay. And we have hope. Aw. Yeah, you guys see, like at the bottom of the deck, we had the fear card. It's like there's this sense that people can see or feel with you that I think like it's like even though they feel you're a really nice person and they really enjoy being in your presence, there's definitely this energy you guys might put out that's like you're a little bit afraid to let your guard down. It's like you only show like half of yourself to people. The funny, fun, surface level side maybe. And it takes a little bit of time for you to be able to fully trust before you're going to come all the way out and reveal yourself. That message is coming through really strong. So definitely a message of moving slow because of maybe being guarded, moving slow because maybe there's like some past pain or hurt that you guys are dealing with around love. I think too with the codependency card coming up here, for some of you guys, I feel like you've been in connections in the past where maybe you've been really tied down or felt like you were really, really attached to somebody in an unhealthy way. And I feel like this codependency energy is sort of what's driving the slow pace. I feel like this group, there could be a select few of you watching this that really like to be free. You like to have your freedom. You like to not always feel like you're totally tied down to your partners, because it's like these handcuffs are here. It's like, I think sometimes being in relationships can feel very stifling for some of you guys viewing pile one. Whereas for others of you, it could be flipped. For others of you, there could be more of an anxiety here. But because we have this really slow, restrained energy, I'm really getting a feeling that like some of your love interests, whether you've been in a committed relationship with them or just lightly dated them, or maybe this is just the vibe you're putting out there in general, like some of them perceive you guys as really maybe feeling like connections tie you down in a way where it kind of like prevents you from being free. But the cool thing here with hope is that people see you as being very inspiring, very optimistic in nature, kind of going back to that dark apricot energy. I think that you're definitely somebody that people they perceive you as being very dreamy, maybe idealistic. I feel like love interest may also put you guys up on a pedestal at times too. I feel like I'm getting that for some. And there's also this energy of hope for the future with this, because the other thing too that we have to remember about the Knight of Pentacles is that it's not always a bad thing to go slow in love, right? Like a Knight of Pentacles would be someone that really wants to be connected with the right person, and they want to do things the correct way and maybe in a more traditional way, right? And so with that being said, you know, people can feel hopeful that like, oh, like pile one, they're serious. You know what I mean? They want to do the right thing, even if it takes a little bit longer. So I think you do inspire hope in your love interest too, that there's potential for a stable future. All right, let's get a few more cards here. All right, how do love interests perceive my group ones? Love call. Yes, someone expresses love, a message of love, thanking you and letting you know. So this is kind of a message of like, you know, you guys may be perceived as being very emotionally expressive. You know, maybe you guys are really good about like expressing how you feel, which is kind of interesting, especially with the restraint card and kind of those messages of fear. Because this is talking about the love call, I almost feel like you guys are really good about like checking in, you know, sending text messages, you know, those little gestures, you know, taking it slow, like those little gestures, like showing someone that you care and showing someone that you're invested. There may even be a little bit of impulsivity with this too, with the strength card, because like this is kind of talking about thinking of you and letting you know, which is sometimes a little bit more of a spontaneous gesture that we might have with others, right? So like there's definitely sometimes I think with you guys a little bit of the element of surprise, especially because when you are someone that kind of comes across as very restrained and controlled and moving slow, I think that when you do express, it can feel very spontaneous to others and it's very meaningful, you know? But yeah, in general, I think you guys are good at like texting and calling and like keeping in touch through communication and stuff like that. People perceive that about you in a positive light. Okay, so we have on the horizon. Let's get one more card and then we'll close it out. We have party of one. Aw. I'm feeling like maybe this group, maybe you guys have like recently gone through a breakup or something, because you guys also had the 5 of Cups at the bottom of one of the tarot decks here. Yeah, it's like with that party of one coming up, it's like I do think that people perceive you guys right now as like maybe not necessarily wanting to be tied down. You know what I mean? At least right now, they perceive you as wanting to be single, or even if it's like they don't perceive you as wanting to be single, they definitely see you as spending a lot of time alone. Like you're somebody that is alone. Or maybe you just really prefer your alone time, which kind of ties back into that codependency card that we were discussing earlier. But with on the horizon here, there's still like this element of hopefulness that comes through. Like maybe if I'm channeling a specific person for some of you guys that are asking, I think that this specific person is like hopeful that on the horizon something is coming in. You know what I mean? That you're coming back to them. But for others, and if it's more general in nature, it's like this vibe of things will happen in the future. There's hope here that you inspire within them. So pile 1, I think that's all the messages that I'm getting. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out here, but I would really like to know how you feel this resonates with you. How do you feel love interests perceive you? Do you feel like there were some messages in this reading that are accurate to you? Drop me a comment. Let me know. If you guys are not already, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you're notified of whenever I'm uploading new content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey there, pile 2. If you guys picked out card 2, which was the honey card, this will be your reading. We're going to look into how your potential love interests are perceiving you, whether this is a specific person or just in general. So starting off with the message of honey, this card says sweeten your approach. So I wonder, like, so, okay, for some of you guys that picked pile 2, this message is like face value, right? Like people perceive you as being really sweet, really kind, just the sweetest person ever, right? For others of you, though, I feel there's like a little bit of undertone here of perhaps this is like a concerted effort that you guys are making to sweeten your approach. Because of the way the phrasing is written, sweeten your approach, it almost comes across as more like advice-based in a sense. So I definitely think for some of you guys, like, this is coming across as, like I said, more of like that concerted effort to be sweeter. Maybe you guys have a little tougher way sometimes of communicating with others or the way you come across. And so the honey card is like, okay, I've gotten this feedback before. I'm trying to sweeten it up a little bit. You know, that's just for some. For others of you, though, it really is. Like, I think that people that are romantically interested in you just find you to be very sweet, really kind, attractive. Let's continue. Let's look at some tarot. The Hanged Man. Okay. Okay. New perspective. Yes, I knew I was picking up on that. Okay. Let's see. The Six of Swords. Okay. Look at that. The Tower. That is so funny. I knew that it was deeper than just you guys are sweet. Okay. Yeah, with that Tower card coming up at the bottom, it almost feels like you guys have gotten some recent feedback or went through a situation where maybe you realized that the way that you were coming across wasn't working when it came to love and relationships, whether it was communication, your energy, the action, like it could be a number of things, right? Because the Tower card comes in and it really shakes up our foundation and it forces us to look at something in our lives that's not working, right? So it definitely feels as though with the Hanged Man card here that you guys have had the opportunity to see yourselves from a different perspective, okay? There's a little bit of an energy of making positive changes here. Now, what I will say, though, is that when we're talking about the way that love interests perceive you, with the Hanged Man here, yes, there is an energy of you guys being perceived as someone that has changed for the better. You know what I mean? Like maybe you've taken pause on relationships to self-reflect because you're trying to have more peaceful relationships here. But on the face with the Hanged Man card, I will tell you guys that in love and connections that you guys may be perceived sometimes as stubborn or perhaps unchangeable, inflexible, right? The Hanged Man is kind of when we're not moving forward just yet with something because we need to see it from a different perspective. There's some sort of hesitation that we have around a connection. So I'm channeling a lot of different things here. So for some of you, it'll be one thing. For some of you, it'll be another. Maybe there's some truth in both for some of you out there. Take it how it resonates. But there's definitely this energy of like you guys changing something and putting something on hold in love in order to change and get better results through sweetening your approach, okay? Because with the Six of Swords here, this is a very calming energy, right? Like the Six of Swords is very much about moving forward into peace. And in this card, we have this beautiful like lavender field, right? So I think that there's an element of just peace and tranquility that people see in you. Maybe like you guys have just gone through a tough time recently with the Tower card here, and it has nothing to do with love life, but something about, you know, some trials or tribulations that you've been through is making you come across as being more aware of yourself and I think more peaceful to others. The Six of Swords is also a great card in terms of like how I've seen it show up for other people and how they feel, because this is kind of an energy of people feeling like you can sort of like support them through tough times as well. Like you help other people to sweeten their own perspectives on life, see things from a different perspective, because you guys might be really good at communicating and talking people through situations, helping to lead them to their peace in a sense. So let's continue for pile 2. How do love interests perceive? Pile 2. Gifts. There's that sweetness. You guys might like to give gifts or like do little favors for people, and then we have differences. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, yeah, you guys I also feel like with gifts that maybe you guys also bring in like the element of surprise too, which would make a lot of sense with the Tower card being a little bit like surprising things sometimes. I'm also getting for some of you kind of an energy of like you never know what you're gonna get. So maybe there's a little bit of unpredictability sometimes with certain people. But with the differences card here, it's like, what am I getting? So I think because we have all these messages of like tranquility and peace and like being sweeter with others, it feels like this is talking about, again, those efforts to be more peaceful when you have differences with others, or trying to keep the peace in situations that are perhaps maybe not going as tranquilly or smoothly as they could be. You know what I mean? Hold on a second, guys. Hold on, guys. Sorry, you guys. Someone came to my door, so I had to go grab that. So, yeah, like I was kind of mentioning, like with differences, it's kind of, I think you guys are definitely being seen as someone that is putting in more of that effort to smooth over differences or peacefully navigate any differences. I'm also getting that you guys might be very unique as well. Like there's something about you that is very unique, that's different, that you bring to the table than just like your average person. So let's continue. Let's grab one of these cards. Hand of Cards. There's this unpredictability energy again. Yeah, you guys are definitely kind of bringing up, like, there's certainly an element of, like, unpredictability that you guys may bring to the table at times. Like, this is taking a risk, being strategic options, not showing your hand, and gambling. I will be honest with you guys. Like, for some of you, you might sometimes be perceived as playing games or being a little bit of a player. I don't necessarily see this in your energy. Maybe that's true for some. Because sometimes with that Hanged Man, you know, when we see this in a love reading, this is the energy of not really being sure of the way forward just yet. So we really have to kind of put something on pause. We kind of are in like limbo with something. So if you guys are the type of person that like will stay in a connection even if you're not sure, and because of this you're sort of keeping others in limbo, they're perceiving you as kind of keeping them leaving them hanging in a sense, that's where people might perceive you as being more of that player energy, or that maybe they think you have a lot of options, or you're playing games, and it may not even be that that's your intention. Let's see. Let's get a couple more cards and then we'll close this out, pile 2. So we have feminine here. Let's get one more. We have stars align. And look at this. Player at the bottom, Casanova. I love you guys. It's nothing wrong with it, okay? We all go through this energy. But yeah, I think some of your love interests perceive you guys as being a player. Like, maybe you guys do a very good job of, like, sweetening people up and, really romancing them. But the problem sometimes with this Casanova card is that, if it isn't sincere, that flame burns out, like we have here really fast. You guys also had Spark at the bottom of the other deck that I forgot to show you. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's kind of like this energy of maybe when you guys first get into something, you're like really into it and you're really excited. You get caught up in the heat of the moment type of vibes. But then maybe there's things that you realize about the person when you're like, well, wait a second, maybe I went too fast. I need to take a second to pause, right? So with feminine energy coming up here, I would take this pretty literally, like that your love interests definitely see you as a very feminine energy. Maybe some of you guys that view this are very like feminine in your presentation. Like this is a very pink, like kind of traditionally, stereotypically girly type of card. So maybe you guys present very like girly girl type of vibes, if that resonates, or just more into like your appearance. I'm seeing lashes here. Like it's very, I'm getting like kind of glam vibes from this. And then we have the stars align, which is talking about favorable outcomes. So this is kind of like an energy of optimism. So I definitely think that people perceive you as being very optimistic about love. Stars align also makes me feel very like it's a spiritual kind of energy that you guys bring to the table as well. Like you guys might be the type of person that's like with the hangman, like in love, you like to kind of leave things up to the universe. And like when the stars align, that's when it fits, it flows types of vibes is what I'm getting. People may see that in you. So this is interesting, group 2. I would really be curious to know how this resonates with your situation. Let me know, you guys, do you feel for you, granted, this is a general reading, so it's not going to resonate with everyone, but like for those of you that some of this did resonate with, like am I channeling like a specific person, do you think? Or do you feel that this is like an accurate representation of how all your love interests generally perceive you? So let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to view this reading today. Please do subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I'm uploading new content, and I'll see you in a new reading very soon. Bye. Hey there, pile number 3. If you guys picked out the 3rd card, which is the Archangel card, this is going to be your reading. We're going to tap in and see how your love interests tend to perceive you. So starting things off with your first card, which is the Archangel. This is from the Color Mage Oracle, one of my favorite decks. And this is one of the colors in there. This is talking about invoke the guardian. So already I'm feeling like a really warm sensation in my heart space. I feel like you guys are perceived as just being pure love and light by some out there. I feel like you guys bring a lot of healing energy into your connections. People may feel very safe in your presence, like you're almost like a protector or a guardian of sorts. I'm also getting very spiritual energy from this. So for some of you all, you guys might actually be very spiritual or, practice some sort of religion or something like that. And people really see that, I think, as being a part of your identity in a sense, because it's coming through very strong here for me. But you have this beautiful light, like this beautiful aura around you where you really stand out to other people, not only physically, but energetically. People are very drawn to your light, pile 3, that's for sure. Magnetic energy, especially with that number 100 there. It's making me feel like you guys are super magnetic. So let's continue. Let's just get a little bit more insight here. We're going to go through a few different decks. So for pile 3, how do their love interests perceive them? We have the Hierophant, spiritual advisement. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love when those synchronicities just come right out. I love when the readings just flow. Let's continue. We also have the Temperance card. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, you guys, look at the Heartache card at the bottom. It's like you guys have very healing energy, I feel. For some of you guys, you may have recently gone through a breakup or something like that. And I think that people are perceiving you as being like you're healing from this breakup. But for others of you, I think that it's about your healing energy. I think that people really look up to you. Even your love interest, they look up to you with a lot of respect. They look at you as almost like a mentor in a certain way, maybe specifically for spiritual advice. I also feel that love interests perceive you as being like marriage or commitment material. Some of you all might be very traditional. Others of you, it may not necessarily be the case, but there's also an element of tradition that comes along with this card. So depending on like who I'm tapping into, or if this is more general, and depending on your dating pool and things like that, there could be an element of cultural or traditional compatibility here that people perceive with you. And with the Temperance card, this is also very healing energy. It's like you guys have the ability to just bring a sense of peace. I think people see you as being very patient, maybe very slow moving at times, but very patient. And I think that you guys do a really good job of like balancing things out, because this card of Temperance, you guys can see we have fire and then we have like water here. And they're kind of like cupped in the palms of the hands and they're trying to keep the balance. You guys might be different or unique as well. Like, I know we were just talking about traditions, but for some of you guys, you might be perceived by love interest as being very different or unique, but something about it feels like it works for them, you know? There's like this element of combining or balancing two totally different elements together, one being you, one being them. But for the majority of you, that Temperance card is just, it's your healing energy. You bring a sense of peace and patience into connections that people, I think, really appreciate, because I'm feeling like a really warm feeling in my heart space here. So let's continue. How do people perceive, how do my pile threes love interest perceive them? For some, I'm getting like divine counterpart energy from this with that Temperance and the Hierophant being here. So especially if you guys pick this and you're channeling like a specific, I'm channeling maybe a specific person for you. This person certainly sees you as like their divine counterpart, like that came to them in divine timing. So we have mystery. Ooh, yeah, I can see that. Okay, let's see. We also have family. Oh, yeah, you guys, like, see, there is sort of this element of, like, family, like, tradition, marriage, like, that whole vibe is coming through. Like, people definitely perceive you as being, like, long-term commitment type of material for sure. Maybe some of you guys are also very family-oriented, whether you have children or not. People see that in you. Like, maybe you guys spend a lot of time with your parents, your grandparents, like your extended family, siblings, things like that. Family is something that this person, maybe I am channeling a person because I just said it like that, but your love interests in general seem to really identify as a part of your core personality. You guys also give off very mysterious vibes here, which makes a lot of sense because I'm getting that you guys are very, like, spiritual, and like people who aren't really into spirituality like that might perceive you as being very like mystical. Like they can't quite figure it out. Like you just seem like you're all knowing, but it's like, how do they know all that stuff? You know, especially with that spiritual advisement card coming up there. Yeah. And I also am getting from this that like you guys, especially like if you're in a new connection, you're not necessarily someone that's going to just like bear everything right at the beginning. You're approaching connections with long-term commitment in mind and patience and taking your time to see how the two of you blend, right? And so because of this, it's like it might take you a little bit of time to fully feel comfortable to like just bare your soul to someone, which makes sense. And so with that, sometimes comes a little bit of an air of mystery for the other person where they can't quite figure you out all the way. So let's continue. How do love interests perceive my pile 3 viewers, Spirit? Okay. We have stabbed in the back. So this is talking about heartbreak, pain, separation, deception, a shocking attack. That's kind of interesting because you guys did also have that 3 of Swords with heartache at the bottom. So there is something here about like heartbreak that's coming up. So whether people perceive you guys as maybe going through a healing time right now after a breakup or, you know, it's interesting. It also talks about deception because that kind of ties in with our mystery card, right? Maybe you guys aren't necessarily intentionally deceptive. I'm not necessarily getting that, but, you know, for others who don't really know you like that, they might perceive it as you being deceptive when really you're just being careful. You're being cautious. You're being guarded. You know what I mean? For some of you guys, if I am channeling a specific person, this person, if you're thinking of this person when you're watching this video, there might be a very specific scenario coming up here where this person is perceiving you as being like heartbroken or, you know, like you've been stabbed in the back or maybe you stabbed them in the back, something like that. Let's continue. I'm also kind of feeling like for this group, maybe some of you guys have been hurt in the past, even if it hasn't been like the recent past. You know, I think that through heartbreak and through betrayal comes a lot of wisdom oftentimes. And so I think that people may even perceive you as having gone through a lot in love, having gone through a lot in life, which has provided you with all of this wisdom that you hold today. and maybe even high standards too. So you guys have the stars align. Again, that came out in pile 2, which is interesting. And then we also have feminine. Both of those came out in pile 2. So funny. And available. Okay. So yeah, you guys are definitely being perceived as like ready for love. Maybe there's like an undertone here of you guys like getting, like putting yourselves back out there. Maybe if you're single, you've been focusing more on like your appearance lately. Maybe you've been going out with your friends a lot, things like that. But there's slightly this element of like letting it be known that you're ready. Not necessarily attention-seeking behavior, but it's like you're open, right? You're open to love. You're open to connection. And you're showing that through your energy, but also through the effort that you're putting into your appearance. That's coming through with the feminine energy here too. It's like, whether you guys identify as feminine or not, this is sort of an energy of like at least from the way that this card is, it's making me feel like someone that's putting effort into their appearance. Like I'm seeing lashes, I'm seeing like the bow in the hair. Like it's a very girly pink card, right? I'm also feeling like with this that people, again, going back to that divine counterpart energy, but it's like your love interest perceive you as being like that true, like ultimate feminine, like that divine counterpart. Going back to traditions again, right? Like maybe this is about them seeing you as like wifey material if you are a feminine and you would identify as a wife. Long-term commitment type of material, if that makes sense. And with stars align here, this kind of goes back to like that spirituality, you know, and this is kind of similar message to pile 2, but it's like there's definitely this sense of hope that you inspire. And you know, stars aligning and temperance, which talks about divine timing, are kind of similar messages here, where it's like when the stars align, it comes together when it's supposed to. So this could be the way that you think, and people kind of pick that up in your energy. This could be the way people perceive you as well, just like getting to be with you in divine timing, especially if you guys are a little bit mysterious, you know, like, and you don't necessarily let your guard down or open yourself up to just anybody. I feel like this group could potentially have a lot of secret admirers who like admire them from afar, but maybe feel like you're a little bit untouchable, right? So there's certainly an energy here with that stars align of like, well, pile 3 is amazing, but right now maybe they're not open, but maybe the stars will align and it will someday. So does that make sense? I don't know. So pile 3, I'm going to go ahead and close out your reading there, but I hope that you found this entertaining and helpful. And I would love to hear from you in the comments how you feel like this resonates with your personal situation and how your love interests perceive you. So let me know. If you're not already, please do subscribe and hit the bell so that you are updated on when I upload new content. And I'll see you all in a new one really soon. Bye.